everybody, welcome to another episode of the Vault Podcast where music still matters, unlike a lot of places where people don't give a crap unless it's Katy Perry at the Super Bowl. So I'm Zan, back with another episode. Brent's with us again. Brent, how's it going?
Not too bad, man. You?
Doing pretty good. What have you been listening to?
I've actually been in a Johnny Cash mood.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's I bought that what is it, The Unearthed? I bought it like years ago, like when it first came out. But it's The Unearthed. I mean, it's like all of like the American recordings and everything.
Mm-hmm. Those are actually some of my favorites.
Oh, they are actually. They are mine. There's something he's got like a darkness to those.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't want to sound morbid, but it's almost like he knew what was happening, like that he didn't have much longer, and he just like all the darkness that was left within him just came out in those albums in unreal ways.
Kind of a weird coincidence, but if you read our reviews and you hear what you just said, there's a lot of darkness between the two of us, apparently.
Well, that's what they've always said, anyway.
I have no idea why, because I'm hardly ever in a bad mood, but...
I get like melancholy moods, but rarely am I ever in like just a bad, I want to like hurt, destroy, dark mood.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I've had all kinds of music, of course, because I'm, crazy. But I don't know, a lot of the newer music that sounds like old music, basically. And then a lot of, for some reason, the Goody Mob, like 90s rap stuff has been just continually popping up on my iPod for some reason this past week. So I don't know what's up with that, but I'm not complaining. It's all pretty good. So today's show is going to be a little bit different than anything we've ever done. Kind of going to do a Q&A where I basically just kind of scoured the internet, checking out what kind of, what are people talking about in different avenues of music. Any kind of genre, just general stuff. Some of it has nothing to do with genres of music at all. And I'm just going to throw these questions. Brent has no idea what I'm going to ask. And I'm just going to throw these questions out, and then we're going to give you our opinion on them. And they're pretty popular questions. So we'll start off with this. What's your favorite format of music as far as, like, cassette tape, CD, MP3, vinyl, whatever?
Personal favorite to listen to is vinyl, just because I like the crackle, the pop. I like actually the old vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't listened to a whole lot of new vinyl simply because my record player's dead and I don't have the money to go buy me another one or get that one fixed. But as far as just listening, laying back, just, listening to the music, I prefer vinyl. Now, what I usually use is MP3, just because I'm usually on the go and moving, and, I have not seen a good portable solution to a record player.
Could you imagine, like, a portable boombox record player or, like, a car record player where it sucks the vinyl in?
That would actually be awesome. Carry it around like a backpack with like some big old speakers on it and everything.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I like vinyl because I like the giant. We've said it in past episodes. I like the giant piece of music that you have in your hands. The gatefold artwork. You said you didn't listen to a lot of new vinyl. If you have new vinyl, it usually doesn't have that snap crackle pop because it's not dirty. It's completely clean, so you get an extremely smooth sound. And as much as I like that, I'm with you. MP3s. It's just I listen to music while I'm working around the house all the time, and I've always got headphones on. I mean, I would say, out of the day when I get off work, I would say probably 75% of my time at home when I'm not working is spent with headphones on my iPod, and I'm running around the house. I'm working, cleaning stuff, working on the website, doing reviews, and it's more convenient to have thousands and thousands of songs, and when you're music junkies like us, that's what you want to have, as opposed to the records. Now, I have my record player in a separate room in the house, and when I'm, going through, maybe I don't know, there's all different kinds of things I've been doing in where maybe you're cleaning stuff out or going through some paperwork or something like that. That's when I'll throw on a record and just let it play. And as far as the sound, like, I think like old blues and older rock stuff like Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and stuff like that, it sounds really awesome. Some of the other metal stuff and black metal, like, it's okay, but I don't really see it sounding that much better on vinyl. So anything to add on that before we move on?
No.
All right, next question. And I've seen this a lot of places, and I'm going to give a super biased answer to this, and you'll know why as soon as I say it. But what's your opinion on like the new, everybody's calling it stoner rock and psychedelic, but past couple years we've seen just a huge resurgence of this style of music, and all these bands coming out left and right that look the part and sound. I mean, if you didn't know any better, you'd think this was something straight out of the 60s and 70s. So what's your opinion on all that stuff?
I haven't honestly listened to a whole lot of the new, with the exception of like The Sword.
Oh, I'm not even talking about. Yeah. So you must. I guess you haven't heard a lot of the same stuff I have then.
I really haven't. I don't, to be honest, I don't do the stoner rock and stuff a whole lot. I can imagine what it's like, and my imagination's not very positive on it. But that's just I'm kind of biased anyway with the new kind of music, and whenever anything becomes a quote unquote scene,
yeah,
which happens way too often in music nowadays, I tend to view a negative eye towards it. But yeah, no, the newest, probably the closest I can get to that would be like The Sword's last album, which I absolutely loved actually. So
I said I was going to give a biased opinion on this. Here's my thing. It seems like every time I'm sharing a new band on Facebook, which I have a Facebook page now, which sucks, but hey, we got to get the music out there. And we have a Facebook page, so go join it so you can see all the stoner music I'm sharing on there, even though I'm not a stoner. So anyhow, yeah, I mean, it just seems like everything I'm listening to is stoner rock, psychedelic stuff, whether that's from the 60s or whether it's from right now. It doesn't matter. That's a style of music I love. I could listen to... You could put every Black Sabbath album on repeat all day long, and I'd be perfectly fine if I never listened to anything other ever again. I mean, I really don't like War Pigs and Iron Man and all those popular ones, but all those other ones that aren't that popular are fantastic. They never get old. And that's just something I love, I mean, I'd rather hear a new band coming out, not reinventing the wheel, just having the same sound that a band 40 years ago had, and making it sound good and doing it right, but it's a new song, then I would, like, oh, here comes, another band trying to do the, weird, like, Dream Theater progressive stuff mixed with death metal and rap. I mean, that stuff's okay, sure, push the boundaries of music as much as you want, but, I'm gravitated towards what I like, and I just prefer that sound, over, new... I guess there's something more like in that style of music. I think there's more soul to it. Sometimes we've talked about in the past how we both kind of get tired of death metal at times. It's loud, it's aggressive, it's good, but it just feels like it doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't stick with me like all these other bands do. Just to name some newer bands for you guys to check out, so you know what I'm talking about. Person, Horizon, Uncle Acid, the Deadbeats, Christian Mistress, Donova. There's just so many out there right now that I mean, it seems like there's new bands popping up each day. So check out any of those bands. Let us know what you think. I basically just like to call them Sabbath worship bands. Like if you sound like Black Sabbath, you throw them in this. And I don't care, a lot of people make fun of like, oh, this sounds just like Black Sabbath, and my answer to that is, yeah, so who cares?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt. I didn't even think about like Uncle Acid, the Deadbeats, and Christian Mistress and that. I do actually enjoy those two bands quite a bit, so.
Yeah, and that's what, I mean, not all the bands sound like, I mean, those two bands don't sound like Black Sabbath, but they still have that kind of feel. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
All right, so with that, next question is, where is your favorite place to buy music?
Oh, God. Like I said, I usually use MP3s, and anymore, I hate saying, I know we've talked about how technology isn't always the most positive. I tend to buy most of my music online anymore.
I was going to say, do you usually buy it through iTunes?
Since I've changed from an iPhone back over to an Android... I actually haven't bought any new music, but it's mostly been iTunes. Like I said, I don't know that I'm really proud of that necessarily. The place I would love to be able to buy music would be, kind of like your local music stores. We've got a couple pretty cool ones around here. I like kind of going in there, a lot of them end up like head shops, stuff like that. But a lot of times they sell some pretty cool music, and I like supporting local businesses and stuff. So I mean, I would love to say my favorite place to buy would be, your local music store, and it is. I just can't always afford it, and it's not always, a good choice for me. So I usually end up buying most of it online.
Is it sad that I don't even know where you can buy online music as far as like MP3s besides iTunes? Like,
Well,
I really don't. I have no idea.
Well, they've got like Google Play is the other really big one. I know since I'm on my Android phone, that's kind of the one that they push.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
basically,
I knew
iTunes.
you could buy apps on there, but I didn't know you could just buy straight music. I haven't looked
Oh
at
yeah,
it.
they've got music, books, movies, all that stuff on there now.
Man, I feel like such an old fart.
Well, I like to buy my music from like local record stores or online, direct from the artists and stuff like that. I find myself more often than not just getting the MP3 so I can take it with me and jam out on my way to work, or like you said, working around the house or whatever. So.
Well, here's my thing. I'm basically going to agree with you. I don't know. It's like, you'll hear the saying, kid in a candy store. That's kind of how I feel when I'm going to a record store or flea markets. And I'll explain the difference. Like, basically, the record stores, most of the time, the ones that are left are really die-hard, and they're going to try to help the customers out the best they can and carry what they know the customers want, not just what's hot at the time. You want that, you can go to Walmart if people even buy music there anymore. I don't know. You're going to get but the problem with that is, like you said, it's costly. I hate not buying something at a small business because it costs so much money because they have to raise their costs for overhead and all that. But it comes down to what's more important, my pocketbook or this place staying open. And sadly, it comes down to my pocketbook. So, and then as far as flea markets go, those are actually more fun for me because you never know what you're going to find. There's times where you'll go in there and you'll come out completely empty-handed. And it's so depressing. But then there's times where you'll go in and you'll find flea diamonds in the rough for like $3. And I know specifically, like, I know one of the Blue Cheer albums, this album by this band called Gun, a lot of just kind of obscure metal and rock, and country too. You can find all that stuff at flea markets, and people, sometimes they have no idea what they have on their hands. And I bought albums that are, in good condition worth $30, $40 for like $2, $3, $4. So, and then, you're going to get them overpriced too. You'll get like Hank Williams Jr. Greatest Hits, which is a dime a dozen, and somebody will want $25 for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just kind of the backlash of flea markets. But, yeah, I'm with you. MP3 is kind of what I buy the most, but I will still buy music to transfer them to MP3s. And where I've been buying more music than any place, believe it or not, is eBay. Because I still want the physical copy, so I've got it, which we've talked about before.
Yep.
But it's amazing how much cheaper they are, and it's any place like I ordered 4 CDs this past album. Yes, CDs, because vinyl is getting so crazy expensive that I just can't afford it anymore. I'd rather have I'd rather have 4 different albums from 4 different bands than spend that same amount of money and have one piece of vinyl from one band I like. Do you agree or disagree on that?
I absolutely agree with you.
So, and the thing on that is, like, I bought 4 albums for the price of what I could have spent on one vinyl, and like two of the CDs came from like an individual that they were used, and then like one of them came from Hastings, which, do you remember that place?
Oh man, I didn't know they were still around.
Yeah, apparently they're still around in other states, and then one of them was from Goodwill of all places.
Nice.
So like, it's just crazy the places you can find the music, but I was paying like anywhere between $8 and $10 for these CDs, and that's pretty cheap in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
All right, so next question is, what is your, and this is kind of hard to classify, what's your least favorite genre of music?
My least favorite genre.
And again, the genre thing is kind of, I'm not going to be politically correct here, but we are not genre Nazis. So if we'll categorize something the way we think it is. If you don't like it, I'm sorry.
I honestly, and this may end up surprising you a little bit, It's actually like I don't even know what to categorize it as. Maybe you can give me something, but like the bar music, like the Katy Perry.
That would just be, I would just call that pop music.
Yeah, I call it pop then, because we bought a long time whenever it came out. We bought the Xbox Connect. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Uh, and we bought the game with it. Was it like Just Dance or something?
One of those games, yeah.
It was one of the dance games on there. It was something that the wife and I thought we could do together, and it was actually, to tell you the truth, it can be a lot of fun under certain circumstances. Like you go to a party where there's a bunch of drunk people. It's hilarious watching. But anywho, no, I got to noticing on there every single one of those songs sounds the exact same.
Yep.
And even more so than pop country, or not even pop country, let's just call it bro country, which, if you guys haven't seen the little 6-song mashup that was done on bro country, I have to repost it because it is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
You got to do it.
Have you seen it?
No, but you're actually jumping the gun because that's my least favorite genre.
It's not mine, but it's very very close. But no, the reason I really hate that pop music stuff, like the Katy Perry, the Lady Gaga, all that stuff, is just it all sounds the same, and there's no soul or meaning or anything that they're even trying to tie back to. Most of it ends up being that, hey, we went out and got drunk and I danced and jumped.
Hey, this is interesting. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine.
This
drives.
We're getting into something interesting here because, I agree to disagree, I guess you could say. I would rather listen to Katy Perry and Lady Gaga any day over this bro country stuff. And let me break that down. At least I don't give a crap what they're saying in these pop songs, but like what you just said, like I don't even pay attention to what they're talking about because sometimes it's I'm not a big lyric guy, so unless it's plain as day, like country music or some of the slower hip hop or really like maybe some spoken word stuff, I don't know. Unless it's just plain as day, I'm not a big lyric guy, so a lot of music I have no idea what they're saying and I truly don't care. It's just the voice is another instrument to me a lot of times. And that's
Right.
kind of how I view these. The only time that I get tired of those songs is when there'll be like a stretch where they say the same word 100 times. You know what I mean?
Chewbacca.
And we'll get into that. I'm not there yet. So if I'm listening to Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, or some of these other, or some of the even like the popular hip hop or dance, whatever, yeah, it is repetitive, but I don't know what they're saying, and I'd rather not know. And most of the times, I can just it's kind of like background music to me. I can stand it. I'm not gonna buy it, but if it's there, I'll listen to it. Now on this bro country, pop country stuff. First of all, it's not country music. It's pop music essentially, and that's irritating in itself because true country music's about storytelling, and all these guys want to do. And here you go. Every single song is about a girl, small towns, or something to do with beer goggles, or beer money, or go ahead.
Don't forget the pickup truck.
Yeah, and usually these songs, I think the songs about small towns irritate me more than anything. Like they basically combined everything I just said, and we can both relate to a lot of these small town songs, but I'm like, I don't care. You can take a metal band from a small town, and they're not going to talk about small town crap. Like I don't understand it. I don't know why people care about it, and I don't know why so many artists need to sing, Small Town USA or Saturday Nights, Six Pack of Light, or Biscuits, Grits, and Gravy. I mean, yeah, come on. I mean, yeah, this stuff exists, but I mean, how idiotic of you to write songs about that. And, people can say that about other genres, about death metal, black metal, hip hop, they just want to talk about hoes and shooting each other. Well, maybe, but I don't know. It just doesn't. It's not as annoying to me as it just some of this this bro country stuff just irritates me more than anything. You got anything to add before we move on?
No, I was just gonna say, you have to listen to that mashup.
You better post it for all of us then.
What they did, it's literally this guy. It's on YouTube. I will post it. I think I posted it on the website before, so you may look. But what he did, he took 6 of like the most popular songs in 2014 of bro country, and put them together. It's absolutely unbelievable. It literally, with the exception of a changing vocalist, it sounds like the exact same song. Like he'll play like a 20-minute segment, and then whenever that segment ends, he cuts in like 20 seconds into the next song, and you can't tell that it's a different song. And then like, at the end of the video, he just has them all playing at the same time, and you can't tell that it's 6 songs that shouldn't be together. It literally sounds like one song with like a little bit extra like harmony.
And I think you could say that for like the pop music I was talking about, but at least like some of the vocalists have distinct vocals. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
a lot of these male country artists, I don't know who is who because they all sound the same. But if you play Aaron Tippin, Johnny Cash, and Willie Nelson and Billy Ray Cyrus, I'm gonna be able to pick out who is who, even if they're giving out the songs the same. So I don't know. That's just me, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's hilarious because it's like everything I've ever made fun of people who were big fans of bro country. Everything I have said was vindicated in this one YouTube video mashup. It's one of the best things I've ever. It's one of the worst best things or best worst things, I guess. I don't know how you want to word that, but I mean it's just. And supposedly, if I read it right, there was a thing on there where he said this formula works for like all of this music, not just these 6 songs. So like it was promised there would be more.
He's dead on too. I mean, I've not even seen this thing, and I could probably tell you could take any of those kind of songs and throw them together.
Well, and that's just, I mean, that gets back in like the state of the music and stuff, which we covered earlier. But so much of country, pop music in general nowadays, and even you can go like pop, metal, rock, all that stuff that's made to feed the masses as opposed to, the art the artist truly, is trying to express. Most of the songs are written by people in suits.
Yeah.
And, you have to have all these, like, focus grouped words that people like, and that drives me nuts. That's a whole different topic, so let's just go on with the next question.
I'm gonna say one more thing to move off of this. That I may have you beat on this slight argument here. The only way I say that pop music is better than the pop country is because I've heard Lady Gaga mashups with Behemoth and Meshuggah. I don't see Jason Aldean hooking up with those bands anytime soon.
Well, no, there is that. So.
All right, next question. Music award shows. What's your opinion? And this could be any kind of award shows, just in any kind of genre, anywhere from the Grammys to like the Golden God Award.
I kind of like the idea, but at the same time, I don't like what they've become. Just to kind of stay with like country music, which we've been talking about for a while. I mean, that used to be something great, and they used to, pay attention to the up-and-coming artists and this and that. Anymore, it's become just kind of like a self-congratulatory mess. And I think back to. It was one of the country music awards whenever George Jones wouldn't play because they wouldn't let him play all of the song or they told him to change it or something.
Yeah.
And so Alan Jackson goes out there and sings it for him. And, completely off script and stuff. And, I mean, that's just awesome.
Yeah, and that's a totally different type of style of music, really, though. That's true country, not bro country.
Yeah. And, I mean, I'm not the biggest Alan Jackson fan in the world. He's got some great tunes. It was just, he was kind of showing a lot of respect and everything, and that was a very public stage for him to do that. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was great. Like I said, I know there's some, I don't remember the names, but they do it for kind of your lesser-known country artists and everything. They do it for, like, a lot of your lesser-known, like, music, like metal and rock and everything. So, I mean, I like it, but at the same time, it almost seems to turn everything into a popularity contest. And, I mean, I know a lot of it, best performing artists, stuff like that. And music's, I don't know. I think it's harder to quantify than just album sales, and I don't know that if that's all you're really rewarding, if that's such a great thing.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It does become a popularity contest, and some things that kind of irritate me. Like, I'm trying to look through the Golden Gods website right now, and it's just that one stands out to me actually more than the popular ones. Like, the popular. I'll just say the Grammys. Those commercials roll, and I mean, I hate to say this, but I don't even know who they're talking about. Like, half of these artists, I don't know who they are. So it doesn't matter as much to me. But when I see stuff like Revolver's Golden God Awards, they're like, oh, Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm just pulling this out of the top of my head. But, Lifetime Achievement Award to Motley Crue. Oh, okay. I mean, everybody knows who Motley Crue is. And I also feel like they'll put out, best guitar player 2014, and one of the nominees is Zakk Wylde. Well, he's been playing for like a million years.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, no, I get it, man.
Okay. And then lastly on that, it seems like on the popularity side of things, like whoever wins album of the year, guitarist of the year, whatever, like everybody's all of a sudden like, oh, that's the best band. I gotta go buy all their stuff. Like no other band compares because this band won the award.
Yeah, and see, there's a country award show or something. I don't remember which one it is. I'll have to see if I can find the link and share it. If I didn't already, I may have. Anyway, there's... I know Sturgill Simpson, who we've talked about before, and he actually just finally signed on to a major label. So it'll be interesting to watch and see if that changes his music any at all.
I sure hope not.
I do too. But, you never know. But anyway, like, they were some of the nominees, like, his album or whatever was trending, like, a lot higher than the people that were actually nominated, and they wouldn't nominate him. And it's, like, nothing but guys. And their album sales and stuff were, like, lower than a lot of, like, some really cool, like, women. And, I don't want to turn this into, like, a feminist issue or whatever, but it seems like, if you're going to have a popularity contest, which, I think we both agree that that's exactly what those are, at least do the most popular if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like they're trying to make a statement with it, and like, no, these bands are really country despite sale, which is more like, okay, well, we're going to get more of the same. That's crap. And so I don't know. Like I said, that stuff kind of bothers me too, because it's almost like there's almost like a political motive behind kind of keeping some of these bands, even though, people are trying to nominate them and everything, they're trending higher, this and that, they're still just like, no, we're going to go with these guys instead.
Yeah, I mean, it's to the point where, small websites like us, or maybe, like a Blabbermouth or a Metal Sucks, or even random people on YouTube that think they're in the know. Like, I would rather hear their opinion on what
right.
their top... I said this a couple episodes ago. I forgot the guy's name, but he had a top 50 albums of 2014, and I'm like, wow, I didn't even buy that many albums in the last 2 years. But,
right.
And it's sad on my part, but I enjoyed listening to. I think the video was like a 2-part thing, and it was like an hour or something like that. I enjoyed listening to him talk about bands that I have no idea who they are that he put up on his awards, with a few that I knew mixed in. Then, all right, Metallica or Motley Crue, they're gonna win another one, or Guns N' Roses performing live with half of an original member, or
right.
Something like that. So,
I'm with you, man.
All right, last question, unless I can think of anything on the fly. Song lengths. There's really short songs. Some of them with like even the grindcore stuff, like 30 seconds, all the way up to like Dream Theater and Opeth putting out songs that are like 12 minutes long or whatever. So, what's your opinion on both of those? What do you like better? Whatever. I
personally tend to go for songs a little bit on the longer end. I think it's just the music I like more. It actually reminded me of a meme joke that I keep seeing every now and then on Facebook. That's Like, you shows up like 15 minutes late to a grindcore concert and you miss like the first two bands.
Yeah.
You show up 15 minutes late to a Doom concert, you miss the first note.
Yep. That's dead on.
Like I said, it all kind of depends, but I tend to find myself more towards the lengthier songs. I'm a big Opeth fan. I like the different movements and everything, but sometimes it gets old a little bit. It's like, okay, go in, get it done, move on to the next song. That's great. But I don't know. It's almost like the bands, though, that take the time. They kind of stretch a song out. They put in, maybe a couple different movements here and there. It's almost more. I don't even really know how to describe it. But it's like they've crafted something that's got a whole lot more meaning than the 30-second pop songs, or not pop punk songs. I mean, excuse me. Where all they do is just go out there and just play whatever chords that their fingers land on for 30 seconds and scream. It's just, I don't know. I like the more kind of crafted stuff. Even like Metallica stuff, their early stuff I absolutely love. Like their instrumentals and stuff is some of my favorite music by Metallica. Some of it gets a little bit old, but more often than not, I tend to go for the lengthier ones.
Yeah, for me, it really depends on the band and the style. If I'm going to listen to, I'm just going to pull these like right off the top of my head. If I'm going to listen to something like Dillinger Escape, and there's a lot of different genres too, by the way. If I'm going to listen to something like Dillinger Escape Plan or Dark Throne, Hatebreed, Slayer, even like a Led Zeppelin maybe, or some of these classic band, Motorhead, I want a short song because their style doesn't lend to the length very well. They do what they do really well, they crush it, and then they move on. And that's what I like with those bands. And then there's very, honestly, I think I'm leaning towards the shorter side because even like Dream Theater, Opeth, Rush, I know there's other bands, I just can't think of them right offhand. There's these bands that put out, anywhere between 7, 15-minute long songs. Some of them are they're really good, but I just get lost in it. Like not for a good reason either. I guess I get bored at certain points. And right offhand, and I just did a review on this recently. The first album that I heard that had really, really long songs or longer songs that really stuck with me was Cries of the Past by Under Oath. And yeah, you're thinking Under Oath, the emo screamo. No, they were pretty much a death and black metal style band mixed with that post-hardcore stuff early on. I think it was 99, 2000 was when the first Act of Depression and Cries of the Past came out. Check those albums out because, those songs are between 8 and 11 minutes long, each one of them. And it sounds like they played about 20 songs and pushed them all together, but they all flow really, really well. Which, it seems like I think maybe that's my problem with some of the longer songs. Is it seems like they take a break. Like they just put their instruments down, hit a note, and let that note just kind of run, and then go get a sandwich or something. And I'm like, Rush is really bad about that, and Dream Theater is the same way. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but.
Yeah, now, see, I remember at an Ozfest we went to, you want to talk about a song being drug out that really shouldn't have been, it was every time Zakk Wylde did a solo.
Go ahead.
I'll never forget, we literally, we were watching, and he was playing with Ozzy. And, everything's going great, and then it gets to the part where he's doing, the national anthem and all that. And I got up, I went and got a drink. I drank said drink, took my time, kind of walked around some of the booths around. I think I took a good 15 or 20 minutes by the time, from when he started. And I got back, and I'm pretty sure my ass got numb before he finished. Now, nothing against Zakk Wylde. He's an amazing guitar player. He could play better with 2 fingers than I could ever play, with both hands. But enough is enough.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, it's just, now whenever things get like that, yeah, I know, just move on, do what you got to do and get it over with and move on. But I think back to, the Opeth album, the one with Ghosts of Perdition, and all that on it. Love that album. Absolutely.
I don't remember the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Now that album has a couple songs on it that are a fairly good length, and they've got just 2 or 3 different movements in it, and the first listen to, you honestly think that you're listening to, like 3 or 4 different songs until you get back to the chorus again, and you're like, oh wait, this is still the first song, and I've been listening to this for 15 minutes. Okay. Now, see, I actually like that stuff.
Me too. I totally agree.
But then you get to even Rush's, like, 2112. Love the song. Absolutely love it. Does it really need to be as long as it is, though?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, they just hit the note and then run down to Jimmy John's to get a sandwich.
Yeah, I don't even think it's Jimmy John's because that's freaky fast delivery. So.
Well, and what 2112 was like what in the late 70s, early 80s. I don't think Jimmy John's was around. So.
Well, probably not, but it was more like, they probably hit the bong or something and forgot they were playing. And I don't know. It just, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the song. It's just you could literally cut it in half and still get the same stuff across. So.
Yeah, or if you're going to jam 5 songs into one, it needs to be done like what we were both talking about, and they just flow together so well. They keep your attention.
Right.
I think honestly, and I love like slow acoustic stuff or stuff where they just like hit a couple notes and let it like ride. But it's got to be done right, or else it's just boring.
Yep.
And I'll close out the show with a Zakk Wylde story. Similar to Ozfest, you did not go with us to this one. And I love Zakk Wylde. I love Black Label Society's awesome. The very consistent, good stuff. We went and on the first band on the main stage that year, I want to say it was 2005, was In Flames. And they were awesome. Next band up, Black Label Society. And just like the previous years, he did the 20-minute solo or whatever. And we had driven, this was in Chicago, so we had driven all night. I was on no sleep, and I fell asleep during his solo, and I woke up and he was still playing. No joke. That is no exaggeration. So, I mean, it probably was 20 minutes or so.
Oh, yeah. It's at least 20 or 30-minute solo. And, I mean, it's impressive, but it's just, the rest of the band members literally leave the stage and, like, kick back in a recliner and watch the game.
Yeah. And then that's what, and then, so the very next band, the friend I was with, he was a real big Zakk Wylde fan, so he was jamming out to that the whole time. And the next band was up, was Mudvayne. And this is kind of, 2005, a little bit past when they were really popular. I mean, I don't hate the band or anything, but,
right.
I just kind of got tired of the style, I guess you could say.
Yep.
But, I'm sitting there listening to, like, the singer comes out. Again, I don't have a problem with the music style or anything, and I don't have a problem with visuals on stage, but the singer comes out in a monkey suit without the head and plays the whole time. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And about 5 minutes into the show, I look, and the guy that was with me is falling asleep. So we got 2 consecutive bands where we each fell asleep during the live shows at Ozfest. That's pretty sad.
Yeah, I remember the first Ozfest I ever went to, I ended up getting a migraine because this chick was crowd surfing in the parking lot, and it got to me. I wasn't paying attention. She fell on my head, ripped one of my contacts out, and like I said, I ended up getting a migraine. Ended up having to try to curl up in some bizarre fetal position with my ears covered during edema.
Well, I totally forgot about them, actually.
Yeah, I actually, I slept through edema. Now, it wasn't because their show was boring or anything. I mean, I had a migraine, but still, I mean, that was just, I'm not a huge edema fan. They had a couple songs that were okay. But no, you just mentioned Mudvayne coming out in a monkey suit, and it reminded me, I know you said we're going to close the show out, but I figured I needed to ask this. What are your opinions on stage theatrics?
I think it kind of depends on what it is. When I think theatrics, to me, that's the band putting passion out in the music, really. Right. I remember it was at Ozfest. It was that first Ozfest I went with you to when Marilyn Manson was playing live the main stage, and he had those giant statues. It was like giant busts of his head, and they were wearing Mickey Mouse hats.
Right.
That was kind of amusing, and it didn't really have anything to do with anything. But then some of the black metal stuff, they have they throw what was it, Watain threw the actual blood out on the crowd this past year, and had some of the bands do the fire and pigs' heads on pikes and whatever. I'm like, well, I don't really think it's cool or not cool. Does that make any sense? Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of neutral. Like, I don't really care. I'd rather see the band putting forth effort that they care about what they're doing instead of just standing there playing an instrument.
I was going to say, I know two of the best shows I've seen as far as just, individual performers. I say best. One of them was by far the best. The other one was just fun. But one of the best I saw was whenever we went and saw Spirit Caravan.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Spirit Caravan. Like, if they came on, my iPod or whatever, I'd listen to it. I enjoyed it. But it wasn't something that I'm like, oh, you were like, hey, let's go to the Spirit Caravan show. It's like, okay. It just wasn't a big deal to me. But watching Wino just shred like a beast. And, they had absolutely, no stage setup except for, a bunch of old dudes sweating. And
not much of a crowd either.
No, there wasn't any. There was, maybe 30, 40 people?
Yeah, maybe.
And, you would have sworn the way every single member of that band was playing that they were in an arena full of people.
Yep.
You could tell. They left absolutely nothing in the tank for that show. And it was one of the best I've ever seen.
And to me, that's theatrics.
Yeah. And I think back to, whenever I saw Rob Zombie. Everybody thinks Rob Zombie, they think these big giant robots and this and that. Whenever I saw him, he did what was called a strip-down show. And I don't remember if you were with us or not.
I've only seen him at Ozfest, so no.
Well, this was at Ozfest.
This was the one I was at was a Chicago one.
Okay, no, this was before then.
Okay.
He came out and he had 4 or 5 pictures of movie monsters, and he was wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah, that's what he was wearing when that's similar to what he was doing when we saw him. Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it. He got in the crowd, was having a good time with it. It was absolutely great. I don't know, I would love to go to see a King Diamond show, with all the weird, wild, wacky, crazy stuff that man does. I say wacky, it's comedy, but
well, it is to a certain extent. It's also awesome.
Yeah, and I would love to see something like that, but just looking back and everything, the best shows I've ever seen were whenever people didn't even bother with distracting stuff on the screen. Even whenever we saw Cradle Filth, they had the women on the rope with the grinders and stuff throwing sparks and all this and that. It's yeah, okay, that stuff's kind of cool at first, but just play the music.
Yep, I totally agree.
So, all right, that's all I had. So.
I was gonna say something. Oh yeah, we were talking about the stage presences and stuff. I will say this: if I go to an '80s metal show and they don't have that persona like we talked about on our past episode, I'm gonna be very upset.
Yeah, there is that.
They're not doing the back-to-back guitar playing and synchronized kicks. They don't have to have the outfits even. Just they gotta look the part, or else I would be disappointed.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know why this popped into my head with that, but even Metal Church when we saw them, and I think back to Prong, and of course that was just a kind of an awkward concert.
I totally agree. I was so excited to go, and then afterwards I was like, that was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was just a very bizarre thing, and here you've got a band like Prong, and the guy comes out, what was it, a red or orange fishnet shirt?
Something like that, yeah.
And, the guy is obviously an aging rocker and not aging well. And I remember we went over, was talking to him and everything, and he pulls out, and this is just bizarre. I used to, chew and everything, and he pulls out the cheapest can of chew.
Yep.
And at the time, I swear the stuff didn't cost 50 cents or 75 cents or something. It was that cheap of stuff. I'm just thinking, it's what in the crap is going on here? And I don't know. It was one of the weirdest shows I've ever been to.
I just remember how disappointed I was in Danzig because I was a huge Danzig fan, and he had kind of like King Diamond. He had all the cool stage stuff. It wasn't over the top, and then he comes out in these the patent leather gloves with the giant nails on them, and I'm like, oh gosh. And then he plays like nothing but his new stuff, which was pretty terrible. And
Yeah.
I know we were separate. Did you actually stay for the whole thing? Because I left. I mean, Chimera was
No.
a part of that show.
We stayed and we watched. Chimera was the band I actually went to watch. I stayed, watched their whole show. We watched all of Prong's. I think was Prong after Chimera. I think.
I don't remember, honestly.
I don't either. I know we watched Chimera, and Danzig was on stage whenever we saw like the members of Chimera like leaving the venue.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I had my whole. Yeah, I chased after the lead singer. He vanished, and then I completely embarrassed myself in one of my favorite bands, in front of one of my favorite bands at the time.
And if you want to hear that story, go back. Do you remember which episode it was on?
I really don't. It was like the first or second one, I think.
Yeah, just go check out all our past episodes. You're going to hear a lot more stories like that. So.
Yeah, and that one is literally like, if I guess you could call it almost like a reverse Spinal Tap type moment. I don't know exactly how you would classify that. I just know that, like I said, it's one of my favorite bands in there. I just completely looked like an idiot. And I remember, like, we went back in, we listened to Danzig, and I kept holding out to hear, like, a few of the older songs that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, same here.
I don't think we played any of them. We ended up, I don't even think we stayed much past Chasing Chimera at all.
Yeah, we left. I probably stayed through about half a Danzig set, and then I left. I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I know I was there long enough to be impressed at the fact that the dude is literally like 10 foot wide.
10 foot wide and 2 foot tall.
Yeah, it's actually kind of bizarre. I didn't appreciate it until, like, I was within, like, 20 feet of the guy.
But not really fat-wise either. He was pretty ripped at the time.
Oh, yeah, he was in pretty good shape. It was just, like I said, you see him on stage and stuff, and it's hard to kind of get a gauge of how small yet huge the guy is. When you take, like, his chest size is just, like, I don't know, ginormous. And then it's like, up to, like, the middle of my chest. And I'm not an overly tall guy, but, I mean, he was short.
I guess that's why he's got to compensate with those crazy gloves or something. Those are ridiculous. All right, we're getting way off topic here. So you got any more questions you want to throw out, or you want to close the show?
I can't think of anything right off. So.
All right, so guys, go to our contact section if you are on the website right now. Follow us on Facebook. We need more help. Not necessarily because we're trying to pay bills with this, but we're just trying to spread the word and get more music into more people's hands of all different genres. So trying to build a community here. Add us up on Facebook, comment, share music. We're always up for listening to new music. Even if you want to share our new bro country artist name, I don't know, they all have the same names, like Luke, Blake, Joey, they all have the same names. So if you want to share one of those, share it. We'll check it out. But yeah, add us up on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. You can find all that information because I'm an idiot and I don't know the handles and page name right offhand. Go to the contact section. It's all in there. We've also got our email in there. Ask us questions. We'll answer them, I will say live on the air, but we're not actually live because it's recorded. So we'll answer any of your questions you got. And with that, I think we're done. You got anything else?
I don't believe so, man.
All right. Until next time, keep rocking and rolling. Hey, hey, hey.